So if we take a look at a weekly chart, and we have shallow volume, but this weekly chart showing the area around 260 looks like a pretty good do or die zone. I'm just going to do a box on the range. Now, this is a big breakout. That was a breakdown to the left. But by and large, sellers, 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 buyers, sellers, sellers, buyers, buyers. And so in the recent time, we've got a linear regression channel going. The recent channel event says, hey, we've got some support. Probably I'm going to do the half back, but let's see how well they did on the duplicative. There's my $5 word of the
I like
day.
it. I like that. You made me smile with that one.
Let's see if we have anywhere near the halfway pressure event. Oh, wouldn't you know it? And a big fat round number at 350. I got to tell you, if you don't use these simple boxes, you're missing out on something that is absolutely a great way to keep yourself in between the lines. And so my thought is that we have two very nice trades going on here. The first one is an iron condor, which those iron condors have been very good to me. So let's do 300 and 240, and let's take it into January. Whoa, okay, why is that doing that? Let's go 240, perfect. I don't know why they've got this. Let's leave it here. It's nice and easy. 240 to 235. And, well, maybe we do need all of them. And, whoa, not giving us too much there. Let's go 290 to 295. That gives us about $1.13. Now, you know, the minimum that I like to collect on an iron condor is 20%. And this gives us just over the edge, all right, this 20%. And so that's going to be a nice leak. And so I like it. It's going to leak down. You want to take about half, and it's going to look good from that perspective, okay? The next one is going to be, what if it bounces? So let's take a look at what the ATR is for the week. Almost $6. It spiked pretty high with this move. And then we want to, well, that disappeared. Why is that? Oh, now it's back with my, wow.
Yeah, it looks like your column settings changed then.
I know, all of a sudden, like, whatever. This is how it normally
Wait, did you go, were you on the trade tab versus the analyze tab? Is that what it was?
Oh, it might, no,
okay.
Maybe, I don't know. But in any case, let's now think about, well, what if it actually recovers? The ATR is 5 or 6. They have absolutely juiced these options. Okay, and so the options are for January's expiry, looks like about $21. So very expensive. So when they're very expensive, I like the 1x3x2. And so let's take a peek at where this is the value area high on the weekly chart at 280. So let's go 280 to 295 and see what we get. 280. We won't be able to take the iron condor at the same time unless you say 290. But I don't like 290 simply because, you know, easily they could go after that big fat round number. So I'm going to go 295, 1x3 by 2, It's a little expensive. It's $1.50 for $15 move. So there's $1,500 of upside, $137 of downside. Now, I have been a big fan of Peter Resnicek for a really long time. And this, oh, you know what? I bet you we could do 305. If we did 305,
it is a little cheaper, yeah.
It's a fair bit cheaper, but it uses margin. And so if we went to 290 and then we went to 295, it's then 66 cents. So the question is, yes, it's half the price, but what is the, what's the risk? And so the risk is with a 1x3x2 is that it blows past 295 and you hold it into expiration and this whole thing is gone. So the reason I brought up Peter Resnicek is because he has the most absurd name. He calls it a mullet. Don't ask me why.
Okay.
He calls it a mullet and he says, hey, think about it this way. If you bought, let's say you think it'll go up into 270, but it'll stall out around 285, okay? So you go 270, 285, it gives you $15, right? It's still expensive, but if you go 270 to 285 for a $15 spread, you could go 295. And what it actually says is if this chart absolutely turns around and screams back up to 300, you're still going to make the $5 difference, right? That's $15 between 270 and 285. And then the short side, because it's a regular butterfly, the short side only gives you $10 of movement. So at the end of the day, if it turns around and moves savagely, you're looking at something that will give you about 100% gains. And as long as it's moving in that right direction, you're still going to stay green for most of the time. What's the drawback? Well, the drawback is it costs a lot more. The drawback is if you see price action roll over, it's going to eat all of that up.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is the unbalanced butterfly feels more comfortable to me, way less risk. And if it flies off the top, you lose the 44 cents, but you have plenty of time between 280 and 290 to collect some gains. So I do like that. If you're the type that goes, wow, you know, I know this about Amgen, they did X, Y, Z, this is going to be really hard for them to hold, you might say, what about the put side? Maybe 244 to 234. So let's have a peek at that and see if 245, 235, 1x3 by 2, that's 5 away, 69 cents. So what you're looking at here is my goal is always to say, I don't want anybody to have to trade with margin unless they really want to. A lot of great ways to trade with margin. I trade a lot with margin, but I've also been in the business for a long time and I have a lot more cushion to play in that margin space. But for about $1, you have $10 to the upside and $10 to the downside. And as long as you keep that middle strike on an alert, let's say it turns around and just absolutely runs like a scalded dog back up to 290. Well, you can just close it out. you'll have this. You could actually take both of these because both the 290 strikes are short and the 295 strikes are long. So there's no dissonance here between the two.
I was wondering, I was going to ask you about that. I was wondering about that, but they're both short. Okay, cool.
Yes. So it keeps you on the right side of the trade there. Notice how price is moving around. That means there's quite a bit of volatility. I would try to get in to each of them and go, you know what? Let me see if I can get into these for 40 cents.
Okay.
Right? And see what gives.